consider yourself living a sustainable life?
Yes, I think I live a sustainable life, yeah.
I believe I am, yeah. It's a lot easier where you live in the world, and Copenhagen is a place where it's pretty easy to be sustainable and have a lot of vegan options in the city and a lot of public transportation, so it's much easier to be sustainable in a place like this.
This year, DANSIC22's ultimate goal was to promote sustainable art to the local Copenhagen community. We saw that a change was necessary and acted upon it to inspire both ourselves and those around us to live their most sustainable lives, while also incorporating our love for art. For this change to be made possible, every team member's efforts were put in to create the DANSIC22 event. Not only keeping the focus on sustainability alone, we also incorporated the concept of art to the masses by showcasing the work of various local artists. Thus, an event named The Art of Sustainability was created in the heart of Copenhagen, consisting of different interactive workshops, art exhibitions, and more for people of all ages to engage. The event aimed to inspire those who attended to create consciously through the intersection of art and sustainability for a brighter future.
Yes. Take one.
My name is Marie Charlotte. I'm from Denmark, and I'm a paper cut artist.
Katrine Kjærsgaard, and that's also the name of the brand.
So my name is Kier, and my brand is called Min Ven Kier.
My name is Helena Ra, and I am a goldsmith, self-taught.
We are Our Shift. We're an activistic fashion brand.
My name is Eva Thor Hansen. I call myself Eva Thor. I make sculptures out of wood, sticks and fungi and stuff I find in the woods.
I make tapestries out of yarn from second-hand shops or donations. I make them with a needle called a vanilla needle, a handheld needle, and then I stretch out some fabric on a frame. I discovered that this technique a few years ago, but it's first now that I really do it, and I fell in love with the technique, and I can use the yarn, and I can make pieces with all those colors and be creative in that way.
So I'm making tufted rocks to hang on the wall, and I use only yarn from second-hand shops. And on my back side I use cork, and that's a very sustainable material as well.
And I create sustainable jewelry, so people can come and, for example, with their old jewelry, and they can remake it to something else.
Recently this year I started to make junk metal sculptures out of old iron stuff. I do this because I find it very funny when I walk in the woods and see a stick that is special. It sparks my imagination.
I've always been creative and I can't stop creating stuff. So I do all sort of things, but at the moment I mainly do paper flowers. And I think it's just curiosity. Like, I need to keep experimenting with materials and try to create something new.
I make this paper cuts, which is sustainable. Actually, it's kind of simple art. You don't need a lot of things. You need a piece of paper. You can use any kind of paper. And a pair of scissors, which can last for years.
I have an education in textile design, and I used to do a lot of prints and textile dye, and I really I thought I had to use too many chemicals, and I didn't really like it on my skin and on myself, but also like for the environment, to put all these chemicals out in the water. And so I started to think about, okay, how can I do it better? And then I started to doing dyeing with plants and coloring with plants on fabric. So all of my stuff is with the plants.
I think it's just like, I kind of like, in this particular project, I kind of like the uncertainty, I think, about not knowing, kind of like losing control and not knowing like what it kind of ends up, you know, becoming. And also I kind of like to make people aware of like nature and how, you know, how you can use that in work and, you know, turn it into a piece of art in a way. I don't know, I think that's kind of like what makes it kind of fun to be an artist in a way.
Company with another designer called Lone, and we are textile designers from the Royal Academy, and our business started with a curiosity on how we could encourage the recycling of textile waste, especially in developing countries where they have an increasing issue of having clothes imported from the West, and that clothes is just being just polluting their local environment. So we wanted to develop a method where we can use clothes of different kind of qualities and from different fibers and then recycle them.
My art is made from recycled fabric and leftover textiles that would have been tossed out if I didn't use them. I also use old clothes that have holes in them and that are no longer wearable, and I tear them up and upcycle them.
Firstly, it's the idea what we have. It's our idea is based on fire piping, which is a technique which I created during my master studies. And it's the technique which used the leftovers from which should be eventually burned. So firstly this approach, and then we also don't use any virgin materials.
Sustainability, it means that you live in a way that you don't put too much pressure on the climate.
That means appreciating less. So instead of just keep on buying stuff you don't really need, then buy less and then appreciate that. And also being conscious about not overproducing, and then really thinking about the materials you use as well, that are not harmful for the environment.
It means a lot, actually, because I think me as a person and everybody has a kind of responsibility to think in that way and try to find ways to behave, to act in a sustainable way. It's also a calm way to make art, and I would like to show other people that it could be a kind of be alone or be together in a workshop or some friends together who could cut, make paper cuts and enjoy talking, making art together.
I think the biggest obstacle is realizing that demand and supply doesn't always go hand in hand. Because everything is made from recycled materials, I can't always get the same exact fabric or colors again, and I just have to accept the fact that this piece that I've made is a complete unique piece that I can't recreate again because I can't find that exact fabric, and that's okay. It also creates value.
For me, the main obstacle was to find somebody that does recycled cotton. That was the main thing. There was many outside Europe, but not so many in Europe. I think now more and more people is getting aware of that this can be a business as well, and we can do good for our planet in a sustainable way.
It's more expensive to buy sustainable supplies for my packaging, paper and such things. So that's my only obstacle.
Trying sometimes in this environment we have today, I think it's difficult to convince people to pay for craftsmanship instead of fast fashion or like fast interior design. And then instead of appreciating things crafted by hand and being unique.
I think the good thing about art is that it's unique and it's maybe people see it as a very valuable thing, and if it's made in a good way, I mean, art is supposed to make the viewer think about not just how it's made, but also maybe telling a story. So one thing is how the production of the art or how it's made, but also maybe it's telling a story to the viewer, how if they have a vision with it. Yeah.
So it's based on a Japanese technique called suminagashi, where you make a pattern on the surface of water with 2 pencils, and then you traditionally would make it inside in a tray in like a studio, so you have complete control of what you're making. But I make like a twist to it where I take it out in nature and kind of make it in puddles of water and in creeks and in the ocean, and kind of let nature kind of decide how it turns out. So it's kind of like a play between me and nature in a way.
Quite spontaneous. I never write down or prepare what I'm gonna do. I just see something and I think, oh, with this I could do this. So yeah, that's how it works in my mind. I just sit down with a stick, or sometimes as well I use wooden rings, and I just start creating. And then through the process I think, okay, I can finish it like this, so I can do like that.
Leading a sustainable life doesn't happen overnight. Nobody can make a 180 turn from one day to another. So starting with just having an interest in what sustainability means and looking at things that are beautiful and made sustainably can be a start. And taking small changes, whether it's being mindful of your purchases, wherever it is that you shop, making sure that you don't have the same piece of garment at home that serves the same purpose. Trying to borrow from your friends instead of just shopping for occasion, and kind of being mindful of your behavior is kind of what can lead to a more sustainable lifestyle.
My favorite piece is, one of my favorite pieces is this skull. Yeah, and it's called Liv. That means life in Norwegian and Danish. And the name Liv also means protect in another context as well, because we should protect our life from everything that's do not good for us, like negative thoughts, relations, environments. We should take responsibility for this life, and I think that is important, and that's why I created this piece.
You write from DANSIC to me, and I thought it was a really good opportunity to show other people that this is a way to make art in a sustainable way. And I was very curious to see what other artists are doing. So
I haven't even had a chance to go around it yet, but I'm really excited to see. We actually had one of them coming up to us. It sounded really interesting. She did a lot of things, like there's World, I think she was called, and it sounded really interesting what she was doing with like reusing clothes and fabrics and stuff like that, and trying to get people to change their minds about this. And I think it's really cool what they are doing in there.
There was a girl doing some like macrame things here, like all these knots and stuff, and I thought it was very cool, especially everything around like flower pots or like plants. I thought it was looking pretty cool.
Awesome. I like the lady with the flowers out of the beads. I really think the beads are very beautiful.
Yeah, the lady that makes all the bags. Because yeah, I think she uses a lot of small pieces of fabric. It's usually you throw away, and she makes that to make new clothing. So that's really nice.
This one today. Yeah, I love it. I just really like what he's doing. I think it's super cool. Yeah, it's called Jeppe.
At some point, I feel I need to say that it's our own because we need to put ourselves up. But I don't have a favorite because I think everybody in here has some good ideas and they are burning with passion of what they're doing. And I think that's the most important thing.
The head one lady, she does a lot of vases and she does a lot of, I think she's Norwegian. She does a lot of like faces on vases and stuff like that. I think the aesthetic's pretty good, and it's a lot of stuff that when I go to used stores, for example, I see a lot of stuff that's always cheap and nobody buys, the same kind of vase, same kind of glass. So the fact that you took it and then went and drew a lot of it and such, I think it's a very creative way to do it. And then aesthetically it looks really nice. The amount of time it takes also looks very nice.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, yeah, in terms of food or transportation, yeah, I guess I am. That's the result.
Yes, I live a sustainable life, yeah?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I think we can always do more to be more sustainable and act in a more sustainable way. So there's always room for improvement, I would say, definitely. But I think it's moving forward and getting better.
I believe I am, yeah. It's a lot easier where you live in the world, and Copenhagen is a place where it's pretty easy to be sustainable and have a lot of vegan options in the city and a lot of public transportation, so it's much easier to be sustainable in a place like this.
At some point, yeah. I mean, I work with sustainability, and I'm trying every day to be more sustainable in my normal everyday life, but in the world we live in at the moment, it's difficult at some point, right?
Well, I'm not very materialistic. I don't like to buy too many stuff for myself and such. I don't go around changing shoes all the time. I try to reuse things whenever I can, so for the most part, not consciously, but enough where I try at least and not make the world worse, so to speak.
That you can make basically everything out of very little, and that waste is not always waste, but more something to make someone else with.
Yeah, that you can make everything. You can use everything to make stuff.
I have already studied sustainability actually from before, from university, and today I learned just how it connects people also, and how new ideas are created in events like this one. Today, I met amazing artists and they're doing something, stuff that I've never seen before. So that's great, and I think it's moving very fast as a movement, yeah.
So far, I've seen that there's a lot more that can be created out of sustainable materials than I, had thought of before. Like some things are using found objects and some are using recycled materials, and it's really amazing how much can be made out of materials that are sustainable.
I've learned that there is a big connection to grab on if you need help or answers to some questions, or maybe ideas to improve an everyday life on how to do something different. At the moment I'm making a cardboard sign that I didn't consider that I could do at the way I'm doing it now, but this is what happened.
One, that you could actually create a lot of art, taking a lot of things that just people want to just throw out and such. A lot of stuff that people just think that has of no value, but if you just take it and sort of look at it from an artistic perspective, you can go ahead and rearrange it and then actually make something that's aesthetically beautiful, that is not going to be in the ocean. It's going to be in someone's apartment and such, and kind of can give an opportunity to take something what would basically be trash and create some sort of art. I think it sounds very exciting.
To me, as I have actually written on the board up here, it says that to me it's ensuring that everyone, everything can have a good life, have what they need, and actually thrive. So that's what sustainability to me is, that we have enough resources for everyone and everything, and we're not destroying a lot, which we are doing.
contain variety of the different type of the art, and I think it's very interesting.